So, did Warmane die after the release of Lich King Classic? That's been the #1 question in comments of my videos and in my live streams chat. YouTube.com/Meytrix, by the way. Subscribe and don't miss a live stream ever again. Today's Friday, September 30th, 2022, the 5th day of Lich King Classic. Since for me in Central Europe, Lich King Classic released on Monday, 8 minutes before midnight. Lich King Classic's release was followed by 4 weeks of Lich King Classic pre-patch, which was essentially Lich King with everything except the level 70 plus content. So it would now be the perfect time to have a look and compare how Warmane fares during the biggest Lich King Classic hype. Did it die, or is it popping? A lot of the footage you will be seeing in this video is from Friday and Saturday, 5 and 6 days post Lich King Classic launch. TLDR, Warmane is not dead. It's doing really well actually, both from the point of view of population numbers alone, but also activity in all environments. On Friday, 5 days into Lich King Classic, there's 4,000 players online on Frostmourne, which is the seasonal realm, 6,000 on Lordaeron, Blizz-like realm, 12,000 capped on Icecrown, and 1,400 people on Blackrock, the PvP instant level 80 realm. Total players online at this time are 24,000. The numbers are great, about as good as the last few years on Warmane. There have been times since April when there were a few thousand people more, but that was mainly because of the classic hype and the anticipation of Lich King Classic. Comparing the population numbers to 2019 until 2022, it will look very similar to what it is now. So, the numbers are amazing. The most populated WoW private server along with WoW Circle, on which Lich King realms reach around 20,000 players online at the same time of the day. The numbers can lie though. Many people would stop at this point to comment how stupid I am to trust Warmane numbers, that they're fake and so on. Well, there's one thing they would hardly fake, and this is the player activity. The actual players actively engaged in the game, doing PvP, fighting in arenas and battlegrounds, dueling, doing dungeons and raids, questing, etc. We can have a look at how many players we meet in the arena, if they're the same players, or we bump into new opponents. We can look at the chat and how fast the chat moves. We can even check the arena spectator to see people currently in the arenas on Warmane. This should give us a pretty good idea and tell us if the numbers are indeed true or fake. And by having a look at these, you can see that the player activity seems as good as ever. Players engaging in PvP, looking for groups for PvE, random dungeon finder popping, same for battlegrounds, people on Blackrock actively dueling in the duel zone, all arena brackets active, cities full of people. It's amazing. How could you fake this? You will obviously get a lot more and faster queue times as a tank or a healer in PvE. You will get in a 3v3 solo queue arena much faster as a healer than a DPS. So you have to consider what role you're playing to get the average number and a good idea. So that is exactly what I did. I tried queuing up for all these with different classes and specs to give it a fair comparison. Icecrown is as big as ever. It's still capped at 12,000 players online, so it couldn't get any better. However, when you log on Frostmourne, you will definitely see a big difference in comparison to Icecrown. Blackrock is full of people who are playing PvP and having fun. Even in the early morning, you are able to play PvP there. As for the faction balance and which faction I recommend you to play, firstly, your best bet for PvP on Warmane is Blackrock Alliance faction, period. They're 63% Alliance and 37% Horde. All this info is from Warmane's website. You can check it yourself if you go to the information tab at the top and mouse over on the graphs. Honestly, it feels like 90% Alliance rather than just 63%, but okay. Lordaeron seems very well balanced with 49% Alliance and 51% Horde. It's the same for the Icecrown realm as far as the faction balance goes. Icecrown is ×7 realm, Lordaeron is Blizz-like realm. And Frostmourne Progressive Realm has 45% Alliance and 55% Horde, which also, from what I saw just walking around the capitals, seems like there is even a bigger gap between the factions than what they advertise. Many players that have a bunch of best in slot characters definitely stayed on Warmane, and there are probably many new players that have their reasons for not playing Wrath of Lich King Classic on retail, whether it is having to pay for the WoW subscription. Even though it's just 15 euros, that's still quite a bit of money, especially for Europeans from countries like Serbia, Bulgaria and so on, where average salary is not as high as in some other countries. And if you've ever played on Warmane, you can confirm that there are many Balkan players playing on it. Me being from Slovakia, it's pretty similar. 15 euros is kind of a big deal. Then there are people that do not want to support that terrible company. People that are used to Warmane and have been playing there for years. People that don't want to go through leveling again, especially not on ×1 rates, and don't have so much time to invest into Wrath of Lich King Classic to keep up with the game. It is completely understandable, and for those people, it's great that we have a server like Warmane that can provide a great experience to those players. As for me, I still like to go back and forth between Wrath of Lich King Classic and Warmane. Private servers are still a great option despite the population going a bit down on most private servers since Wrath of Lich King Classic released. Warmane was not the only one getting affected by it. Having a competition for both Warmane and Classic is only a good thing, so I hope they will both do great and keep pushing each other and competing for players by giving us better quality game. There are good things about Warmane that I missed on Classic, namely some of the add-ons I have been used to that have not been updated for Classic up to this point. Also the fact that I can play with people from both US and EU, 3v3 solo queue system and much more. Wrath of Lich King Classic has nicer character models, still the old aesthetic but better resolution. It is progressive. There should no longer be the need to have an arena team in order to play an arena. The rating is character bound, so you'll be able to swap partners and play with whoever you want and so on. So, to sum up, Warmane is not dead after Wrath of Lich King Classic launched. It is doing great. As a matter of fact, all of its 4 Wrath of Lich King realms are still active with many people playing on them. If you were to compare it to Warmane from April of this year until September, then you would see a slight decrease in player numbers, but losing a few thousand players if you are still well above 20,000 daily is not a big deal. Chances are some people will even come back to Warmane once they find out they are not able to keep up with Classic's pace. And it doesn't seem like Warmane would be dying anytime soon either.